Hey, Jeff, does God give you a verse or a word for the church each year? And yes, he does. There's no doubt, all right? He always gives me a verse, like a word and stuff like that. And so as I got into later in the December month, my mind starts going there. I usually lay out my 52 Sundays for the upcoming year. I start kind of putting my bones together and look at where my series are going to fall and things like that. And I said, God, what's your word for the church? What do you have for us? What verse, man, is us? And so in 23, I've spent a lot of time positioning our church for 24, what God has for us. Staff-wise, financially, everything. And it's positioned for next. There is something coming for us, okay? There's a next for us. It's not Mesa Verde. Mesa Verde is already ours. And God's is starting to do his stuff over there, and we're going to all be a part of that. But there's something other than that. And I know that. And I know that because when you look at the money and you look at the giving units and you look at Manger, God's like, yes, I'm breathing on this place. I'm breathing on it. I'm breathing on it. I'm breathing on it. I said, God, what? So what verse, man, for the church? And so I'm sitting there one morning. He says, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And I was like, God, that's a kid verse. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your understanding, all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct path. We all know that. And I was like, okay, no, like seriously, God, the verse, I think you misunderstood me. The verse for the church, like powerful, wow, my pastor's so cool. Wow, that verse is deep. Wow, the Greek, and break it down in Greek, and break it down the Hebrew. Wow. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. I was like, you're kind of stubborn, you know? And so this went on for a couple of mornings. I was like, God, I'm talking, man, we're going. God's good. Man, lead the charge, brave heart, give me some. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And I was like, seriously? He said, here's what I want you to do, Jeff. I want you to write it out, okay, in 7 translations. So I went to 7 translations, and I wrote it out. When I say write it out, I mean like Big Chief, write it out. Some of y'all don't know what Big Chief is. Your parents can tell you later. But I write stuff, piece of paper, old-fashioned type stuff, okay? Sometimes I even write in number 2 pencil. I don't even think you can do that anymore, all right? But that's how I work, okay? That's how I do it. So I wrote it out. We know the verse. I want to read it to you, and I want you to listen to it. I want you to read through it. I don't want you to read it like you already have it memorized. I want you to read it and follow it as I read it to you. Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. I'm going to ask you a question. That's what God said to me. I read it. It said, trust in the Lord with all your heart. And I said, trust in the Lord with all your heart. And he stopped me. He said, do you? And I was ready to go to the next verse. And all your ways not to him, he will guide your paths. That's how we read that verse. Do you, look at me, church, do you trust in the Lord with all your heart? Do you? Do you trust him with all your heart? That he's all you got. He's it. Honey, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know, but I know this. I trust my Lord. I trust him. I don't trust him when it's good. I trust him all the time. I trust him. And God said, Jeff, do you trust me? I said, yeah, God, I trust you. You know I trust you. I trust you. We trust you as a church. He says, okay, read the next verse. And that'll determine if you really trust me. I said, all right. And Jeff, lean not. And church, lean not on your own understanding. See, the question of whether you trust God is that you really trust him. Because I'm 58. I've been doing full-time ministry for 35 years. I can manipulate a situation and manipulate people to do the situation and call it God. Or I can trust the Lord and not lean on my understanding, my ways, my thoughts, my actions, my nothing. Just eliminate me, just die to Jeff, and trust God 110%. And we as a church are standing on the cuff, man, of something big. And we've had some great stuff that has happened in our church. It's been big. We've been wowed. I mean, they dropped the keys to Mesa Verde in our hand. We knew nothing. But there's more coming. And God says, here's what I want you to do, church. Position yourself. Trust me. Lean not on your own understanding, your own eyesight, your own ears, your own interpretation. Don't trust in any of that. Just trust me. And when I open the doors and when I show it to you, it'll be a no-doubter, man. It'll be all God. You ever had a no-doubter in your life? Like, whoo, you're like, oh yeah, that's God. I mean, I was a pitcher in college, high school and college. When you throw a pitch and you hear the sound of a bat, there ain't no reason to turn around and look. Because you know that thing's about to knock the top out of pine trees about 410 feet away. And your catcher goes, oh my gosh. I'm like, sit back down, squat down. Just get the ball from the umpire. What are you doing? You on scholarship or something? I know it went. I heard the bat. It's a no-doubter. When God does it in your life, it's a no-doubter. Nobody, no man can talk you out of what you know you heard God say. No doubt, nobody can talk you out of what God did. You're like, that was just God. That was just God. We're about to have that's just God moment in this church. We're about to have a no-doubter. No doubt. That's God. If we will position ourselves and we will wait, we will fix our eyes on him. We'll lean not on our own stuff, connections, or anything. And we'll just trust him. Just trust him. That God never changes. He's same yesterday, today, and forever. It's coming. And it's going to be determined on our trust. Will we trust God?